Hey Chelsea fans, welcome to Chelsea Unfiltered. This is your host Anirudh. This is a channel for Chelsea fans by Chelsea fan. I'm really excited on this journey that we're gonna have. And to tell you about this channel, I'm going to be giving you my opinions, my reactions, analysis, and more from everything ranging from transfer rumors to any emerging stories about the club, because it's Chelsea football and we always have something going on, right? And of course, pre-match and post-match reactions, what happens on a pitch is very important, and we are the world champions, of course. So I'm really excited on this journey. If of course you like this content, please give it a thumbs up and please do subscribe. It really helps support this channel. This is a new channel, as you can see, very new. So any feedback you have, I'll be happy to take on board, and of course show us some love. So yeah, let's get started. Uh, so let's start. So there are a couple of stories that are going on. Um, we have Hato with Ajax situation, and of course Xavi Simons. I hope I'm getting it right. Where are we with that with Chelsea? I will discuss that. So that is an important aspect, but I would like to discuss first with some of the outgoings, some of the rumors that are going around that have happened in the 24 30-hour period last year. So first of all, if you have follow Fabrizio Romano, of course you do, and you have watched some of the other Chelsea channels like George Benson or Yannick or some of the others that are there. You already have seen that, but I think I just wanted to highlight this. It's nothing that you don't know already, but so Fabrizio Romano here, came up with a briefing because it's very directly been given to him by the club that they wanted it to get this out, right? That they are not, actively working on Isak. It's like so there are two things. So first of all, why do because there were why do you think that Fabrizio Romano came with a briefing immediately? So I think when Chelsea saw these rumors start, with the situation at Newcastle for Isak, there were very strong rumors going on that Chelsea were in for it, this and that, and basically, since Chelsea has signed Liam Delap and Joao Pedro, who have done well, in the Club World Cup, and there's also Nicolas Jackson. So they do not want to be seen, undermining or pushing these strikers, even Nicolas Jackson at this point. So it was important, very important, that they wanted to let everyone know, because it's just not the players, it's also their agents, and they'll be like, what's going on here. So they just wanted to let everyone know that they are not pursuing this deal, that they are quite happy with the strike force. Also, you have to understand, Isak is demanding something like 300k at Newcastle, and even if he lowers his position and goes to Liverpool, let's say for 200, 150 to 250 million, that is what is being reported. So, because the Athletic came out with a number about 250 million, I think. And generally it has been reported. Alan Shearer himself said, if we get 150 million, let's get him out, let's rebuild. So, but the fees and the wages that he's demanding, Alexander Isak, and his injury record and all of that, I don't see it happening for Chelsea also. Not just because of strikers, but mostly because of the wage structure. It doesn't suit Chelsea. So Chelsea and Isak is not gonna happen, not even close. So I think that is also part of the reason that Chelsea came out, because it was never going to be the case. Now there's a very clear Liverpool thing that he wants. Liverpool have let him or his agents know that they clearly want him and are prepared to make a British record fee transfer. But I think it is important to know that Chelsea, it would not be. Isak is not the guy Chelsea are going to be willing to break their base structure for. That is very clear. Uh, but yeah, that's about how Liverpool are moving and what Liverpool are doing in terms of transfers. I think we have all been a little bit surprised, but there's more to it. But in terms of Liverpool, they cannot get Isak without selling Darwin Núñez and what's his name, Luis Diaz. Yes, Luis Diaz. So unless one of those deals goes through, Liverpool can't realistically go for the British record fee. So I'm thinking that they're basically counting on one of these players to go and then to get substantial fees. So there is reports that Bayern Munich are going to go for Luis Diaz, and if they're going to go for Luis Diaz, then they have funding. Now the reason I'm talking about this is because it's connected to Xavi Simons. That is a part of it, but I'm going to be talking to Xavi Simons later on, but that was a key. Right, moving on, another related news. So there's this guy Chris Wheeler. So he's not Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein, but when it comes to Manchester United, he's like one of the key components of the guy, and that's where the second. So he just says that Man United are not for Isak, they're not for Shesko, they're not for Jackson, which is not a surprise because they basically spent all of their money on Mbeno and Cunha basically. And basically they needed to catch some players out, so they need to have some outgoings in order to come out, in order to basically sign any of these three players, because the price point is just too high for Manchester United to basically approach or sign any of these people. So there it will have to be lowered to a point. Even I would say they are talking about Watkins. Watkins, I do not see it happening, simply because 60 million for them is too high, and Aston Villa, I think, then I'll have to look at someone like Nicolas Jackson, and if they look at Nicolas Jackson, we will automatically look at Morgan Rogers. So that is going to happen, right? So that is why I think Aston Villa are not prepared to make a deal, because they do not want to, because they know that they will just not be losing one striker. They might also be losing one of their crown jewels, which is Morgan Rogers, right? So it is understandable that that deal is unlikely to happen. Manchester United are unlikely to do a Nicolas Jackson. Now the reason I want to highlight Nicolas Jackson here is because there has also been recently reports by a guy named Craig Hopes. So he's not Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein level, but he is, I think, more like someone like a Newcastle briefer, just like Chris Wheeler. So any briefs, he's like a Newcastle spokesperson, almost like they give him briefs that he does their line to a point which is kind of laughable, but he has a good connection there. He's a good thing going on. So yeah, but he basically said Nicolas Jackson is in Newcastle's list. So I think if Newcastle lose Isak to Liverpool, which before the Club World Cup seemed like 30-40%. Now it seems increasing, like it increasingly looks like 70-75% that deal might happen. And in that case, they're looking at one of the two strikers on the list are the very same. So Benjamin Sesko, Nicolas Jackson, and I think Ollie Watkins is also there. So there is a possibility they might go for Nicolas Jackson. Um, and again, if they go for Nicolas Jackson, then our asking fee is about somewhere between 80 to 100 million pounds. So it will not be cheap for them. They'll have to do their own British record fee. And if they're paying that much for Jackson, I don't think Chelsea will have any problem to sell. That said, if that happens, I do expect Chelsea to go and get another striker, and I believe it will be. That is my personal belief. This is pure speculation. I do not have any sources or any sources at Chelsea or something like that. I'm not uh, someone who's in the know. I have my theories. This is what I believe. Just basically reading between the lines, basically from the people who are in the know. So it is my belief that beyond Xavi Simons, if Nicolas Jackson is sold to, let's say, Newcastle, and an event, it may happen, right? So in that event, I think we will either go for Shesko or what's his name, Water. I'm not sure. So the guy that Bayern Munich wanted to target, the Stuttgart striker. I think he was in the final under 23, under 21. Right, so him or Benjamin Sesko, I think Chelsea will go for him because there was speculation about both of these strikers that Chelsea were scouting and looking into. But of course, they want something like three strikers, and there it was a brief earlier that there were going to be like 9 attackers. So I don't believe there will be 9 attackers, but let's say if Nicolas Jackson leaves, right, and Christopher Nkunku leaves, which it looks again increasing likely, it is more than likely we bring someone in. Okay, but if Nicolas Jackson is not sold, then of course it will be Xavi Simons, and then we'll be done in the window in terms of attacking options. But if both Christopher Nkunku go, and then Nicolas Jackson also goes, right, so both of these players go, then you can expect either A, we try and get Morgan Rogers, or B, we get a striker, right, which will be like Benjamin Sesko, because they're asking prices about 100 million euros or something like that. And if we have sold Nicolas Jackson for 100 million pounds, I don't believe that will be a problem. I think Chelsea will sign him as a priority striker. So that is my belief, of course. But just reading in between the lines, because it has been reported that Benjamin Sesko might be a target. So yeah, that is what my belief is. That is what I think can happen. But we'll see and watch this space. I said it first. Now, Joao Felix. So when the deal happened with Atletico Madrid, I had a mixed reaction, just like everyone else. So, and it didn't work out for him at AC Milan because he was just trying to do too much, I think. But there is negotiations between Benfica and Chelsea going on. Now, George Mendes is, of course, trying to get the deal done for his client. Now, I think what I understand is Chelsea, with the point of contention is Chelsea wants something like 50 million, and Benfica can only offer up to 25, right? And I'm not because they're like we'll do 50% of the rights and 25 million. So there's a big gap, supposedly big gap, and just based on some of the people I was listening to who are in the know and some of the reports from Portuguese newspapers, they're like a bit here and there, so not really trustworthy. But just based on that, I think what's gonna happen is that Chelsea will just take an L here, kind of an L, but not really an L. So what is being proposed is that, from what I hear at least, and that the Portuguese side is reporting that Chelsea will take the 25 million, and Joao Felix will go to Benfica. But suppose if in 2 seasons, 1 season, 2 season, or three seasons he does well, so uh, he does well if he gets sold to some other club, because Benfica are a selling club. They develop young talent and then they sell them. So if for some reason Joao Felix is sold, in that case Chelsea will have a substantial sell-on clause, and if so that they can recoup basically close to 50 million what they want, or in case if he's not sold and he remains there. So I think what I'm hearing is, let's say he remains until there till 2028 or something like that, and he's not sold for one reason or the other. In that case, Chelsea will expect Benfica to pay the other 25 million. So basically, that is it. So ultimately, Chelsea want their asking price done, be it through salon clause or be it Benfica paying them after a certain time, should they have not sold, Joao Felix. Fabrizio Romano is saying it's quite advanced. It's happening, and I think it will happen. Joao Felix wants to go to Benfica. Benfica want Joao Felix. Chelsea are, have good relationship with George Mendes, and Mendes is going to find a way to get deal for his client. So I think the deal will happen, and I think Chelsea will get what they want in one way or the other. Is whether it's sell-on clause, whether it's payment after a period of time. But I think Chelsea will just get there. So that's about Felix. I think we all have mixed feelings, but he has been respectful at the very least to Chelsea, and that's the best thing I could say about Joao Felix at this point of time. But I hope, because it has not worked out for him, so I hope he really flourished in Benfica. That's where he got his big move to Atletico Madrid. I hope he's able to regather some sort of his old form, and I hope it does work out for him. I wasn't a big fan of him. I think none of us were at Chelsea, but I really hope it does work out for him in Benfica. Okay, so I'm sorry I put in Derry, but before that I wanted to talk about Sterling to Napoli. So he has been offered to Napoli. We already knew that, and basically they're assessing options. They are also looking at some of the other players because they want that left winger position filled. They're looking at Nadoy and one other player, Kubo, right? Kubo. So I just wanted to see that. So, but recently, I think from what I understand, the bid has been rejected. I think that was a few hours ago. I'm not sure about the source, but that is not my main. Fabrizio Romano is not reporting that, so it's some of the Italian source. I think someone called Afreda Pola or something like that. So I'm not sure about them. They're like tier 3, tier 4 source, but they're saying that the Nadoy bid has been rejected. So basically, and that the Napoli representatives had apparently or were going to have a chat with Chelsea representative today, right? It could be intermediaries or it could be something else, but apparently that is going to be happen. So I hope the deal can happen, because Sterling gets his move, and we are able to recoup some of the money, and we get this huge wage bill off against Sterling. I mean, he's a decent professional, and I think any delusions Sterling or anyone had that he can still play at top level in top level club like Chelsea, one of the top six clubs, right? That has been broken where clearly he was at Arsenal last season. So that is a possibility. There's also been reports recently. I think one was Nizar, I think, and there have been few other people reporting this that the Fulham are interested in Sterling. So yeah, I mean that if that is real, because Nizar is Nizar is like tier 3 tier 4 in terms of credibility and what he says, and how he says it. So I would say, yeah, if Fulham are interested and if they can make a deal happen, so whether it be Napoli or whether it be Fulham, I don't think Chelsea fans have any problem. And I think for Sterling, who does want to stay in London because of his family, and he wants be close to his family, there is a structure there. You have to respect that, right? Because players have families, you might feel something about the player, but they also have a life, they have family, and they have this and that. So he wants to stay in London, and so yeah, if Fulham are in for him and if the deal can be struck, then Napoli or Fulham, I think we can, of course, make it work. Now the incomings, right? So in terms of incomings, I showed you one image. So let's just go to that. I didn't realize it until later on. So yeah, basically we have signed another young player. He's a winger and he's from Crystal Palace, and we have beaten. We have done what Chelsea do. We hijack deals and we beaten some top European clubs in doing that. And he's 18 years old, so he's not that young. He's not a 16, 15-year-old that sometimes we hear about. And since he's 18, maybe we'll see him quite soon. We might soon see him like in a season or two in Chelsea shirt, at least some cameos or something like that. Maybe because we do like wingers. I'm not sure if he's a left winger or right winger. I will have to check that out. But yeah, there could be a possibility that we are going to do him. And there's also been rumors about another youngster from Man City who's, I don't know, he was thinking about joining Chelsea or something like that. But yeah, hopefully this is a good sign, and we get to see him, and not so in a distant future, right? In a Chelsea jersey. Now, this is a deal that we wanted to talk about. So, Fabrizio Romano says that we are quite advanced in club to club talks, and we are also advanced in personal deals. So that signifies that ultimately it's not that the case it's completely done in terms of even personal terms, but I don't think there should be a problem based on what my understanding of the conversation is, right? And there has also been basically talk of that the owners have now got involved. I think Big Bali or someone like that is now involved. So this deal is going to be as closed. And one other source, someone who's in the know, basically confirmed. Alex Goldberg I'm talking about. So basically, I was in a stream, and basically he said that he got it from a reliable source. Basically, that this deal is going to get done. So I know some Chelsea fans are really nervous that Bayern Munich are going to hijack, but that is why I talked about him during the Isak conversation that Chelsea were not going for him, because what's going to happen likely is that Bayern Munich and Liverpool are going to go get the deal done for Luis Diaz. So they're not going to go for Xavi Simons. They might be informed about the situation. Okay, and I mean, if you think from Bayern Munich perspective, they would want to be informed because they're looking for a left winger, right? And their first target is Luis Diaz. I think then Malik Fofana, that is also a target for us, has been under consideration. Then of course, it's like if they're unsuccessful in all of these fronts, and they're not getting anywhere. So something is better than nothing. That's a kind of prospect, because Xavi Simons, as attractive he might be, is not a left finger. He's a 10 or left 10. Well, that's why Chelsea are signing him. He's not a left finger, so that will not solve Bayern Munich's issue. And RB Leipzig's asking price is around 60 million euros. So it's not an easy deal to make, because there is also PSG. Have also gets some sort of money out of it, because Xavi Simons was a PSG player not so long ago. So there is a complexity to this deal. That is why it is also taking some time. So I know sometimes Chelsea fans get real nervous, but there's nothing to be nervous about. I think Xavi Simons is going to become a Chelsea player, and same goes for Gerald Hato. I think he is going to become a Chelsea player. So I'm not saying that I am someone who has these sources who can confirm that to me. I'm just saying that I hear it from people who are in the know, and basically deduce or read between the lines and just tell you what I feel is likely to happen, just based on their confidence and just based on what they're telling me and how they're telling me. I feel Xavi Simons Xavi Simons and Gerald Hato will be Chelsea players by the end of next week. Before the end of the next week, I think that is going to get done. I think there is little bit of sportsmanship, brinkmanship going on between RB Leipzig and Chelsea, where RB Leipzig wants 60 million, and then there's report that they want 70 million. Chelsea are like, they only want to pay something like 50 million or something like that. So there is brinkmanship that is going on. But I think Chelsea, because today I think there was RB Leipzig had a friendly, and Xavi Simons played there, right? And they're like kind of doing, we are, he's not completely out of the plans. We are not under any pressure to sell him. So they're kind of doing this game. But in a way, Xavi Simons playing for RB Leipzig actually benefits Chelsea, because Chelsea are not going to have pre-season until later, because Xavi Simons was not involved in Club World Cup, so it benefits Chelsea basically to get Xavi Simons, fitness-wise ready, for the new season, because then it's more easier for Enzo Maresca to fit him into the squad, because if he's ready there, right, because he has played some matches, it will be easier to get him in. So I think that plays into what Chelsea want. That is basically why Chelsea just allowing this to happen. Also, I believe Chelsea know that RB Leipzig have to sell, right? They either have to sell Sesko or they have to sell Xavi Simons, because they missed out on Champions League last season, right? And we also how they crashed out of Champions League. So they have got little money, and I think that is what the leverage Chelsea banking on, because they're banking on that Bayern Munich are not going to be there, because they are going to be doing the Luis Diaz deal, right? Arsenal need to sell one or two players before they can focus on Eze, right? And Benjamin Sesko. I know Newcastle are like, we're gonna go now Benjamin Sesko, But will Benjamin Sesko want to go to Newcastle? That is another question, because Newcastle. I'm not sure how exactly they do the approach and what do they tell the players. Yeah, but clearly they're missing out on all of those targets, right? They missed out on Liam Delap to us. They missed out on Joao Pedro to us. They have missed out, Etiquette to Liverpool. They have missed out James Trafford to Manchester City now, right? James Trafford was one of their key targets. They wanted him really badly, and I think just Man City got that over the line, right? So, so there is clear, they're clearly not convincing enough, and I'm not sure Shesko, would want to go to Newcastle. I mean, it can go few ways, right? So that's another discussion, that maybe that doesn't happen, and then he may or may not want to go. And but the RB Leipzig might end up selling both players. They might, but they have to sell one. And I think right now, with the owners getting involved, this deal is going to get closed one way or the other. And the Chelsea source were quite confident that deal is basically going to happen. And Gerald Hato is also going to become a Chelsea player. So I think at the end of the day, that next week, I think we should see, and here we go for both of these players. And if there are no outgoings, if there's only Christopher Nkunku, it goes, then I don't think we'll be adding another attacker there, unless there's a real major opportunity for a player. But if Nicolas Jackson goes and Christopher Nkunku, both of these players are going, then I do expect Chelsea to sign another attacker. But once these deals happen, I think Chelsea's transfer window is closed. Yeah, that's it from my side. This this went on to be a pretty longer video than I expected. I hope you guys liked the content, and if you did, please give it a like, subscribe, and push on the bell icon, so that you know when the content is out. Yeah, so basically that is from my side. Please do support the channel. We need that. Yeah. Until next time, from Chelsea Unfiltered. Bye.